Our next guest is not only a high achiever, he's been selected to represent FAMU Law in the community. Please welcome Mr. FAMU Law, Sam Porter, to Legal Connection. Sam, thanks for being with us today.
Thank you so much for having me, sir. I appreciate it.
So tell us a little bit about what your duties are as Mr. FAMU Law.
Yes, sir. So some of the duties are really just about representing the College of Law in an official capacity at different functions, making sure that we're out there doing community service, and just really making sure I'm giving back to some of my colleagues, whether they have issues at home, whether they have comments or suggestions for the admin, just really making sure that we do that. I said a lot about community service. I'd just like to give you an example. Some things that I've done already is just try to give back to the homeless population here in Orlando, whether it be by food, clothing, and things of that nature. My missus, her name is Zykeria Martin, and she always is very, very helpful as far as giving back to the community. So we do a lot of things like that. And another community service initiative that we're focused on and working on is getting into some of the jail populations and making sure that they have different literature so they're able to read, because, you know, literature is super important. And we want to make sure that people have access to those things.
That's one thing people don't know about FAMU Law, is that you're not just going to school, you're actually in the community doing things. Have you determined what kind of law you're going to practice, or have you thought about what that might be?
I mean, I've thought about it, but I'm really just not set. It's not set in stone for me. I feel like there's so many different various areas of law. I mean, you have health law, contract law, property law, con law, constitutional law. There's just so many areas, and they're all seem really fulfilling. So I'm a 1L, just starting my career at FAMU Law, and I hope to soon find out which area really gets my interest the most, but as of right now, I haven't really found that out.
One step at a time.
There we go. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So tell me about you, your background, who your people, as we say, and what made you want to go to law school?
So honestly, I'm a little bit different than a lot of my colleagues. Law school wasn't on my agenda when I was a little kid, but I'm glad that it is on there now. I'm glad that I'm actually doing it. I'm a retired military. I was an aviation electrician mate. I got hurt in my service, which afforded me the opportunity to go to school. My family couldn't afford college. After I got hurt in service, one of the benefits was being able to pursue an education, so I really utilized that, and I went to school at Howard University for political science degree as well as a geography minor. And then I started a nonprofit organization called Front Royal Unites, was really just focused on making sure people in the community felt like their voices mattered and we were all one. After that, I went on vacation a little bit and I got accepted here, and I just knew that this was for me. I did a mayoral campaign in my hometown. Although I was unsuccessful in that campaign bid, I had a young fella who looks like me and just telling me that he was excited to see someone like him run for such a position. He'd never seen it. He's only 13, but he said in all his years of life, he'd never seen it. And it was just really cool to see someone like that feel empowered and motivated to know that they can do whatever they put their minds to. As long as they're making good choices, it's all possible.
Sometimes a setback is a set up for something greater.
Yes, sir.
So what is it about law that made you want to go to law school and become a lawyer?
When I had my nonprofit organization, was president and founder too, we really were doing a lot of things as far as when the George Floyd death occurred and when Breonna Taylor was in the news a lot. We had marches, we were in meetings with different town officials, and it was just really hard to have someone there who knew the law, knew about getting different things like permits and whatever may have you. I needed someone like a lawyer, an attorney, and I'm glad to know that I can be that for an organization or be that for myself if I ever choose to do something like that again, like Front Royal Unites. It just makes it all more possible. It makes it manageable. And you kind of know what you're talking about when you're dealing with people like different town attorneys or different mayors or different councilmen.
And you know, things do or do not work the way they may be saying.
Right, yes, sir. Yes, sir, most definitely.
So in your journey so far, what have you found to be the most challenging thing about law school, and what have you found to be your favorite thing?
Some of the most challenging things are, tonight I have to go home and read 60 pages, so that's kind of, it's just, oh, how am I going to do this? But the first semester showed me the different tips and tricks that you can use as a student to really make sure you read all the material, but actually take from it what you need for class. A lot of things are in class are called cold calls. So a professor may call on you and you don't know it's your turn, but you need to brief the case back to him or her and tell them what you've learned from it. What's the rule of law from the case that you're reading? So I think that's one of the most challenging things, is reading several, sometimes hundreds of pages a night. I think one of the fun things is meeting the different people, meeting my colleagues who come from all different walks of life, and being able to get back out there in the community. I ran on the platform of community service, and just being able to use this position to give back to the community in various ways is something I find fulfilling.
And you went to an HBCU for undergrad, and now you're at HBCU for law school. What is the FAMU law difference? What does that feel like for you?
We're rattlers, and so one of the things is really just making sure that you're never afraid to speak up. You're never afraid to say what's right, what you feel is right. And sometimes people in the room may be afraid or unwilling, or that might not be their passion to speak up for everything. I feel like a rattler, and sometimes we call it a rattler for justice, really is a person who's able to get in there where they fit in, speak up when they feel like they need to speak up, and fight for what's right, and fight for things of justice. I think FAMU at large is really big about FAMU-ly. So that's what we like to say. So it's called FAMU or FAMU Law where I go, but FAMU-ly, add the LY to it, because that's what it really is. It's about the FAMU-ly. Yes, sir.
And how has being Mr. FAMU Law, do you think, changed your trajectory in law school?
Honestly, I think that it's allowed me to feel more empowered to run for some of the other positions. Like, we have a student body association or student bar association. It's sort of like SGA for, undergrad, just like student government, sort of, kind of. You're able to work with the different admin and vote on different things that affect our colleagues. And so I think it just empowered me to run for other positions at school that have a voting power and are able to really effectuate some type of change.
Well, Sam, thank you so much for being with us today and joining us on Legal Connections. And I know you're going to be a bright star in the legal world, in the legal field, and we're just glad to have you today.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate it.
And of course, we'll be right back with more Legal Connections coming up. Stay tuned.